We are thrilled to announce Metis is launching our Community Ecosystem Governance Program to truly uphold our mission of bringing blockchain to the people. As we move further down the path toward decentralization, the Community Ecosystem Governance Program invites our community to verify projects on the Metis network. While we remain a permissionless platform, we're introducing Metis governance snapshots to give our ecosystem back to the community and allow you to vote for the projects you care about most. Projects will be able to apply through our governance system for consideration, and through the voting process, the Metis team will empower the community to verify projects and inform our marketing and promotion decisions. In service of decentralization, we need your support to make our network the Web3 home for everyone. Be sure to stay tuned to our social channels to stay informed and cast your votes. Now is the time to bring Metis to the people.
Greetings, everybody. GM, I'm Anthony Robles. I'm a Metis ambassador, and here is a co-host of the Metis community space, which we are now using for the community governance process. And a quick introduction into Metis. Metis is a layer 2 network built on Ethereum that is focused on onboarding Web 2 users, builders, and businesses to Web 3. Metis is leading innovation as a smart L2 which executes near instant transactions and gas fees no more than a cent, all while still benefiting from the strong security and decentralization of Ethereum, features that are very important for the mass adoption of Web 2 users and businesses. Furthermore, Metis is incubating an on-chain decentralized identity and reputation system called Matrix for trustless collaborations. And with this technology, your data and identity will be self-sovereign and private. And additionally, with Matrix, Web3 contributors can build on-chain resumes through soulbound tokens distributed by protocols using Matrix on the Metis network. And finally, Metis is also incubating infrastructure for decentralized autonomous companies through what is currently called the DAC portal. And businesses and entrepreneurs will be able to access an aggregation of DAC tools that will provide them the on-chain utilities they need to operate a day-to-day business efficiently on the blockchain. And today, our space is the home of the Metis community governance process, where the Metis community, has a chance to engage, ask questions, and learn more about the projects going up for vote to become a community verified project in the Metis ecosystem. And Metis governance decentralizes the network, putting the power in your hands to build a better Web3. And to learn more, visit the Metis governance Twitter page at Metis governance, where you can find the link to our Telegram group. And I'll post a tweet on our scoreboard or dashboard, whatever you call it, on this Twitter Spaces, so that you can get directly to the Metis governance page and also to reach and all that. I'll do that in a sec. But let's get started. I'm going to pass it over to Ali to introduce himself, and then from there, we'll pass it over to Chris.
Hi, guys. Thank you, Anthony, for inviting me and having me on board. Good morning and good afternoon to all of you. Ali, Community Manager and Ambassador at Metis and a co-host of this weekly Metis Ambassador Space. I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of our listeners. We do this space every week and invite projects that build around Metis. The idea is to make this an interactive session where listeners can join, share thoughts, and learn from the projects firsthand and come up with their own research thesis. Also, a shout out to my fellow ambassadors who do an amazing job and drive this conversation in a lovely manner. Um, I just want to piggyback on what Anthony just said about Metis. Metis is no doubt a smart layer 2, as we all know, but it is one of the only L2s that is aiming at complete decentralization at both the infrastructural and organizational level. Almost all layer 2s have the same infrastructural problem of having a single sequencer. Therefore, there is a single point of failure. And Metis is aiming to be decentralized at the infrastructure level by having multiple nodes with no single point of failure. It's like each node, each sequencer that runs is like a computer run by the community, and they all take turns. So this is how basically Metis aims to be decentralized at the infrastructural level. And when we talk about the decentralization at the organization level, Metis is opting for eco nodes. So basically, no physical or regulatory force can kill the ecosystem. The nodes are led by a board of directors, that is Metis Foundation, and that's basically decentralizing Metis into multiple eco nodes. So, guys, I hope I have added some more info to the Metis. Um, Today, we have a very special guest. That is the Reach team, which is basically a blockchain development platform. It is the smartest, safest, and fastest way to build apps for Web3, NFTs, DeFi, gaming, and more. So I'll be heading straight to Chris. And Chris, how are you?
So Chris just messaged me. He got rugged on Twitter. He fell off.
That's nice.
Waiting for him to get, yeah.
Okay.
So hopefully it gets back on right now, and we'll pass it
Yeah.
right back to him to join.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah, but until then, another quick thing I forgot to mention was that our spaces are recorded and posted on our Metis Ambassadors YouTube channel for people to view after. So if you miss it here today, you will have a chance to see it or hear it again, and through the weekend as the voting process opens up to listen in and catch up on anything you may have missed. So let me add Chris back. Cool. Think I think he's back. And I was just mentioning, Chris, how this space is also recorded for re-listening on Twitter, and also posted on our Metis Ambassadors YouTube channel that I will send over to folks after this is over, so they can share and have people listen in as voting opens this weekend. But with that, I'll pass it over to Chris, who's representing Reach. I don't want to make an intro for you, so would love to hear who you are and what Reach is, and then we'll get it started like that.
Wonderful, thanks. Yeah, I got good old Twitter Spaces rugged, but I think I'm back now. We should be good to go. Nice to meet everybody. My name is Chris Swinner. I am the CEO and co-founder of Reach. My background, people say that I'm technical, but I have actually been a software developer for over 12 years now. But I started as a software engineer 22 years ago. About 12-ish years ago, I made the jump over into entrepreneurship. Started a bunch of companies, have had a few exits or be part of a few exits, but nothing crazy awesome yet, knock on wood. But I've been in crypto now since 2013 is when I started actually collecting tokens. I say collect because I'm like the worst trader in the entire world. But in 2015, I started actually putting teams together to actually build things, and I've been building companies in crypto full time since early 2017. One of the things that I really kind of like learned over time being in crypto is that, like, number one, like one of the things I always say is, if you cut me, I bleed blockchain. I believe that blockchain is not just exciting, but it is a necessary technology to actually fix a lot of what's wrong in the world today. And so like, I am just like extremely passionate about what blockchain can do with putting the power in the hands of the people that are using the products, rather than the actual a single entity that tells you what you should and what you can do. And so I'm super passionate about blockchain. But the thing that I actually learned over time is that blockchain development is kind of stuck in like the 50s. Back in like the 50s, when people were using COBOL and there was, writing with assembly, like it was very difficult because you had to actually program in a way that you didn't have all the nice tools that you have today. That you had to kind of really think about the low level functionality of like every bit moving around. You had to pretty much build state machines. Well, that's actually where we are with blockchain today as well. It's just that the developers have to actually build and think about way too much, and it's just too hard. And what I wanted to do is fix that. So back in 2019 now, I thought really hard about like, okay, well, what are the things that could be done to actually make blockchain development so easy that the millions of developers in the world could actually come in and build whatever they want, not go to Open Zeppelin or go somewhere and copy a contract and paste it in and cross their fingers that it works, but actually be able to write contracts because they want to do bespoke things and really actually change the world. And so I partnered with my co-founder, Dr. Jay McCarthy, who is a computer science researcher. And we worked together, and he came up with a way based off because he's been a computer science researcher for I think 20 years, on a way to actually build a higher level programming language that makes blockchain development exponentially easier. So it's like similar to like writing a JavaScript application. So it's much easier to understand, much easier to write, much faster to actually write, and allow like a developer to actually really build whatever they want. But but being easy is this one thing. Because blockchain how it is, you need it to be safe too. Because you don't want a brand new developer writing the next Uniswap from scratch unless there's actually guardrails in place. So through the compilation process of Reach, we made it so that we automatically we automatically mathematically guarantee that the code that is being output is correct through a thing called formal verification. This is like if you kind of think of it as like, if you remember back when you were in geometry, rather than your professor gave you a formula, rather than actually saying, this is like start plugging things in and find out what it would actually end up being, you wrote out by hand a huge proof to prove that the equation is correct. That's sort of like what formal verification is, but formal verification is taking your entire application and proving that your application will be correct in all potential realities. The next thing that we want to really kind of fix is the ability to output to any endpoint, to be able to actually not have to actually worry about if I'm writing to Algorand or if Ethereum or Cairo or whatever, just so that you can write at the high level and through a configuration change, decide where you want to deploy it. So we did all those three things, and we put it in an entire package. And we came up with the Reach development platform. And it took us about a year to build because there's a lot of moving parts. But since then, we have now onboarded over 8,000 developers. We've integrated multiple different blockchains, including the EVM, the Algorand, and Conflux, and we have many more in the actual roadmap. And we have over 20 VC-backed companies that are actually building on top of Reach today. So we figured it out. We've made it so that a traditional developer, a regular Web2 developer, can spend 4 to 6 weeks learning this new platform and build anything in blockchain. And what we want to do is we want to be part of the Metis community. We want to see if we can actually help to make sure that more developers can come to build on top of this layer 2 and take advantage of everything that Metis has put together. Or sorry, Metis. I always say Metis.
All good. I know this every week. Guests they're like, "Is it Metis or Metis?" And it's like, however you prefer, but Metis is kind of like the proper pronunciation. But yeah, whatever you feel comfortable with. Cool. So thanks for that introduction. That was a thorough breakdown. And yeah, so I read through your governance proposal, and I clicked your links, watched your videos, and I think it looks really cool. And as someone myself who is at the moment learning programming, I'm a noob. I'm very early. I'm just a beginner. I'm on JavaScript right now. So this is really cool to see like an actual new language and compiler and a deployment tool all in one that is multi-chain and kind of making things much faster and easier for developers to build on the blockchain. So I'm actually very interested myself in learning more and actually maybe start using this language. But they say when you're as I'm learning, they saying you gotta learn JavaScript, then React, then Solidity, and I'm like, maybe I can learn all in one through Reach. So is something like that possible? Like, is this with Reach?
Uh,
Oh, go ahead.
it's it's definitely harder. Because like you really are learning a bunch of different techniques. We've had it happen. One of our first dev relations person that we had on the team literally learned how to program 2 months before they started actually working with Reach, and was able to actually whip out brand new projects and build some real cool stuff. So it's 100% possible. You're going to have a leg up if you already know JavaScript and if you already know React and everything. But we do welcome everybody. We don't turn anybody away. We believe that the future of blockchain is going to require all kinds of developers, and if we can't make it easy enough for a couple of kids in a dorm room to build the next decentralized TikTok, then we haven't done a good enough job. But one thing I actually just wanted to give a shout out here. I got a bunch of my Algorand community people here listening, and they're amazing group. And thank you so much for coming and giving me support over here as well.
Nice, and thank you for joining Algorand fam. Good to see you all here. So yeah, that's cool. So that kind of speaks to your community. And you already have a built community, and I also read that you have a Discord where there's a dev community where you can engage and connect and learn more and learn together. One of the things I was also interested in, and I'm kind of speaking on a personal note because, like I said, I'm a noob to programming and I'm trying to learn. So I'm very interested, and I saw there's an educational program, and there's that Discord that I just mentioned. So can you speak more about like the dev community within Reach and the Discord and the educational program that y'all have, and how you're turning out more blockchain developers?
Yeah, I wish that the whole adage you build it and they will come was actually true. It's just not true. What you need to do is you need to build a great product, and then you need to make sure that people know about it and they can have help along the way. And that's what we've done with the community. That's what we've done with we've run several programs. We just finished one in Malaysia where I believe we've onboarded over 200 different students in 7 different universities in an 8-week program, and over 50% of them are women, which we're really stoked about that, to get more women into the ecosystem. But we do things like this all the time, and we'd like to do it with Metis as well, where we'd have can actually partner up with you guys and actually run programs and teach more developers, because the more developers that know how to build, the more things that can be built. Because you kind of need both entrepreneurs that have ideas, and then you also need the developers that can actually build them. And it really takes a couple of different types of mindsets. But my personal mentality is that, like, I don't exist, the company doesn't exist, blockchain doesn't exist without the community. So I spend a lot of time talking, helping, participating in multiple different communities. I'm probably on 4 or 5 at least different spaces a week to be able just to talk to people and just to help them with their blockchain issues. And I get into deep into the politics and the community and just overall, like, because I am a degen. Like I'm probably one of the largest NFT holders on Algorand, at least. And I use DeFi. I when I say that you cut me, I believe blockchain. I'm 100% in it.
Awesome. And you said you're a bad trader, so I believe you're a degen.
Exactly. I mean, I think the game that I play is how many things can I buy that go to zero? Like the more I get, the more the better I feel.
Yeah. So your chart's also bleeding. Your portfolio's also bleeding blockchain.
Oh yeah. I'm so poor right now. All I can eat is ramen. But whatever.
Yeah.
We do this for the fun,
yeah,
right?
exactly. And you're building a innovative programming language. So who cares what you eat?
Yeah, that's right.
Um,
We're changing the world. Well, eat better later.
exactly. So I have a lot of questions that I want to ask you, but I want to give some time to my co-host Ali for any, as I know he has some questions and inquiries for Reach as well.
Uh, it obviously makes sense that this is a good product market fit. But I wanted to ask about the security verification part. How does the security verification work for the contracts? So can you give us a background on how it was developed, and does this make it easy to code, and do the contracts pass any audits?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. So what happens is that when you write your application in Reach, the compiler itself actually knows the flow of the application through, or flow of the user through the application. And because of that, and the way that Reach is structured, we have the ability to generate automatically generate formal proofs to prove that your application will do as you expect. Now, what does it actually approve? So it proves common things without you doing anything. It proves that you can't accidentally lock your tokens in a contract. It proves that you're not trying to create tokens out of thin air. It proves that your math can't overflow. It does a lot of things for you like that automatically without you having to add anything extra into your code. But also, if you want to prove extra things to it, like say, in this loop, your balance can't go below 10 or whatever you want to do. You can actually put those assertions in a JavaScript-like syntax, and it will also generate brand new proofs, security guarantees to actually make sure that that's true too. Now, the question is like, how do we know that it guarantees all the way down to the actual base contract? One of the things that we do is a thing called translation verification. We generate proofs not only for the intermediate language of Reach, but also the base language of the contract. And then we verify that the proofs are actually the same, so that we know that that when that our intermediate language is this, will do the same thing as the actual smart contract language, and we prove that as well. Now, as far as your question about audits, one of the things that is really cool about Reach is that we have partnerships with auditing companies that will charge less if the application is actually written in Reach, because it's easier for them to understand and prove to actually that, or confirm that it's actually correct. So we've had applications that have gone through companies like Runtime Verification, FIO, Kudelski, very like many reputable auditing companies, and they really like it when a developer comes to them with Reach, because it makes their job so much easier.
Awesome, Chris. I have another question. This is more about a recent incident where a contract was developed with Reach, and it was too big for the network and exceeded gas limits. But this was actually more of a design issue rather than an issue with the language. What is your comments on this?
Yeah, it's so the issue is that if you write a application that's too big for a smart contract, it's going to error out at the base level. This is more of a design issue of the actual application. One of the fun things about Reach is that because it makes blockchain development so easy, it's very easy to actually make very complex applications. But so yeah, so it's a matter of actually, and of course, when that happens, you can then just redesign your application. You can actually write it in multiple different applications. There's lots of things that you can do to actually change the design. All of that being said, one of the things that we are looking for a grant to actually complete is to be able to output directly to EVM bytecode rather than Solidity. By doing that, we'll be able to actually drastically make the smart contracts more efficient. Of course, this takes time and effort and money, so we're hoping actually to get a grant to be able to do that. But when that's done, we believe that writing a application in Reach will actually be more efficient than actually writing a bespoke contract within straight Solidity.
Well, that's great. I am Anthony. Would you want to ask a question, or can I go ahead?
Go ahead, go for it.
Okay. Okay. Chris, I thank you for the answer. I just want to ask one more thing. You were mentioning more about the educational programs launched by Reach, and you would like to do the same with Metis as well. Uh, One thing I wanted to ask about was, is there a cost involved, like when students register, for this program to learn Reach? Do you guys charge them something, or how does it work?
So really depends. We do have a way for somebody to actually pay to, I think it's $99, and they can go through the entire first course through our LMS. But the programs that we partner with companies, the protocols themselves foot the bill. They pay for our trainers, and also we do have actually an incentive structure that we put in place so that developers have the ability to have some incentive to actually make it through all the way through the program. But that is typically paid by the protocol partner, and the cost is covered by them rather than the end user, because many protocols understand that developers are very valuable, and being able to actually get more developers that have experience building on their platform makes the actual value of the overall protocol better. So, like I said, we've ran several different programs with multiple different protocols, and we've even done in-person hackathons for multiple protocols. So the main thing here is is finding the right partner that believes in the value of developers and allow them to cover the cost of those developers to go through the program.
Nice. That's awesome, and that's something that I'm like personally interested in myself. And like I keep saying, I'm a programming noob, and I'm really trying to get this skill, under my tool belt. And yeah, so it's exciting to hear, and I'm excited to see what like develops out of this partnership or potential partnership with Reach. Still gotta go through vote, but if it passes through vote, I'm very eager to see like what kind of programs can come out, and bring in more builders and more developers into the Metis ecosystem to start building projects. And maybe I'll be one, someday, through Reach on Metis, but we'll see what happens this weekend. But aside from that, so you said the language is very similar to JavaScript syntax, and JavaScript is primarily a front end language. And I read that Reach, you can it doesn't just output a smart contract, but it outputs an entire dApp. So does that mean you can create front end logic with Reach, or how what does that mean?
So what it means is that no, you would write your interface in whatever thing that you want to create your interface on. If you want to use React or Vue or I don't know, whatever the kids are using nowadays. But the main thing that when we say we actually output the full dApp is we don't just output the smart contract. We output the back end of the front end, the back end of the client that communicates with the smart contract. Because it's not the difficulty is not just actually writing the smart contract, but is actually making sure that you communicate with the smart contract in the most efficient and safe way. So we output that piece as well. So you can kind of think of it as like a bespoke or a custom SDK that is specific for your application that you can then communicate with through your interface.
I see. Okay. Yeah, it sounds like this is like incorporates it's not just a language, but like a toolbox of like SDKs that just make developing so much easier and faster on the blockchain. So that's really cool.
I mean, to put you actually like into like a true understanding of how powerful Reach is. We have a YouTube video on our YouTube channel of Jay, our CTO, writing a entire RSVP application from scratch with no pre-planning, and while explaining the entire thing in less than 45 minutes. So the power of Reach is very hard to understand just through my words. It's literally exponentially faster and easier than actually writing something fully from scratch and trying to actually make sure that you don't make any mistakes.
Yeah, that's awesome. I saw that. I think I know what video you're talking about, and that's the one I think I looked at where you turned like a 1500 line program that I don't know if it was in Solidity or what it was, and did the same program on Reach in the Reach language, and it was like made much more concise um and probably easier to understand because it's more concise when you look at it. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And so one of the things that I'm also interested in was, so like like I was saying earlier, they tell you to learn Solidity if you want to learn how to program on the blockchain. And so most developers right now, and especially EVM, are Solidity developers. And so I was wondering, how does somebody who maybe never learned Solidity but made their way and learned Reach, how would they collaborate with the vast majority of other developers who are Solidity developers? Is there a way to collaborate? Is it compatible? Like, can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. I mean, so Reach is designed to actually be a faster blockchain development language for all developers, experienced and brand new ones out there. So to collaborate with the few hundred of Solidity developers that really are, if they wanted to do that, it's very easy to just do remote calls to existing smart contracts, and it works extremely easily. It's just a simple function call to call a remote contract, and it works just fine. Yeah, so there's really, I wish I could go on and on about this, but really it's so simple that there's really no reason to say more than that. It just works.
Okay, yeah, it sounds simple enough, so that's good to hear. And then I guess a follow-up question on the community piece too is, where do y'all know, like, where are there like geographical locations where there may be like strongholds, or is it mostly like just like online virtual community through Discord? Because I'm in Los Angeles, there's a big developer presence here, and there's big universities here, a lot of up and coming developers are coming out of. So I was wondering, like, is there any geographical strongholds or areas that kind of stand out in the Reach community?
So we have I mean, we're mostly virtual, so we're worldwide. Me and Pitbull, we're worldwide. But like, weirdly, there's a big developer community in Australia for us, and Turkey. Like, those are two places that have a outsized number of Reach developers, because usually what happened is that there was a champion there that then really pushed and really showed everybody, so they grew abnormally in those areas. But for the most part, we're actually spread out pretty evenly. Of course, we have lots of people in the United States, and yeah, all over.
Nice, cool. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna myself get involved, join the Discord, and I'm gonna check out the community. And like I said, I'm on my own journey, so this is something very interesting to me personally. So
Amazing. Well, I'm excited to have you part of the community.
yeah, thank you, appreciate that. And so another question or inquiry that I did have as well is, so if a programmer, if you code a dApp and you have your program, can you then just launch it on multiple chains at once? Like, it just deploys on any chain that you select, or how does that work?
Yeah, you could deploy on any chain that we support. So that's the EVM chains that are actually EVM equivalent. There's some chains that say that they're EVM compatible, but really they're not. So they didn't work exactly out of them. But all of them that are EVM equivalent works on Algorand, which is amazing technology, but completely different VM. It works on that. Conflux, which fits into that bucket of like they are EVM compatible, but they're different enough that you can't just launch normal contracts on, and it works out of the box there. And the best part about it is like this is literally just a configuration change. So when you compile it, you just say compile for Algorand, compile for Ethereum, compile for Conflux, and it outputs the smart contract for it. So you don't have to change your code at all, and it just works.
Nice. Yeah, it sounds like it just simplifies the entire process of developing on the blockchain, which right now everything in blockchain is pretty clunky and kind of difficult to learn, even for usage. So,
Yeah, like our test suite that is ran every single time we make a change to Reach has hundreds and hundreds of example applications that we deploy on every chain that we support every single time that we make a coding change. So this is how we know that it works on all chains that we support.
cool. That's dope. And Ali, I saw you go off mute. Do you have any questions you want to add?
Yeah, I see what I've heard from Chris so far is that Reach is going to be a master tool available on Metis pretty soon. I was just going through the proposal, and I like the fact that it was mentioned that by using Reach, dev cost can be reduced by up to 50%, and the time to build can be reduced by as much as 40%. How does that work, and what do you have to say about this?
Yeah, I think that's. I think actually those are conservative numbers, believe it or not. I was talking to, like, I'll give you an example. Like, I was talking to Nick, who's our head of training, and he was telling me about he just built a raffle application, like a raffle application from scratch, and he said that he built the entire thing. He built the entire application, the example application, and it said it took him about a week. And the blockchain portion, it took him, he said, an hour. So like it took him an hour to do the blockchain portion, and the entire rest of the time was working in React and just the website. And that is actually why, like, how it decreases the cost of development. Give you another example. MakerDAO, which is a pretty complicated stablecoin, amazing developers. Their developers, I believe, are averaging around 300K a year each. And it took them around, I think it was like 9 months to, maybe 10 months. I forget exactly. But about 10 months to actually write the first version of Maker. Now, there's another company that's building on top of Reach. It's called XPact. It's launching on the Algorand blockchain that is building a very similar stablecoin. But they were able to hire traditional Web2 developers. Most of them came from an insurance company. So they were able to pay a fraction of that in salary because they don't need to find the best of the best blockchain developers in the world to be able to actually build a bespoke thing. And they were able to do it in a fraction of the time. So the cost, overall cost, is about being able to hire from a bigger pool of developers and them spending less time on the actual development itself. And it also helps that the auditing cost is discounted as well if you use Reach.
Oh, that's cool. So, while going through your roadmap for the next year, I see there's a NFT marketplace as well. So, I believe since you're a big believer in the NFTs, this is what you have for 2023, right?
Number one, it is long boy season right now. A shout out to the long boys out there. But like NFTs in general are always something that they're very special to me. I believe what the proposal means is that I believe that 2023 is the year of the smart NFT. The NFTs that actually do more than just ownership. Things that like membership, where actually a membership payment flows through the NFT as a payment router, but it actually then designates if it's an active or deactive membership, and things also like building out DAOs based off of the NFTs as voting powers rather than tokens. A lot of this stuff is expanding the power of NFTs, and with Reach, you have the ability to do that because you number one, you can actually build safe custom functionality for NFTs, but you can actually do it in a much faster, easier way. So we are actually working on this functionality right now as just purely examples. We won't launch them as our own products, but we want to actually to write the examples and then give them to the community, because we want to see what you all can actually do with them.
Nice, nice. That's dope. And I've heard the term utility NFTs, and so when I heard you say smart NFTs, I'm like, oh, what's that? But it sounds the same as just utility NFT. But I actually like the term smart NFT better, because most people, when they hear utility NFT, that already sounds technical as hell. Like,
That
what the
sounds
hell?
boring. I don't want a
Yeah,
utility.
yeah, utility. What the hell am I gonna do with this? And what is this, like a Swiss Army knife? Like, but you call it smart NFT. Everything's smart these days. And they got smart contracts, smart phones, smart
Right,
this, smart
smart
that.
NFTs.
Exactly. So I like that. Yeah, that's awesome. So I think last question. So it's good to hear, what you have coming in store. Glad we got to that. And before we open it up to community questions, I think one last thing that kind of came up as you were just speaking is, so there's NFTs are changing and gonna change, and I know maybe I'm behind, but the last thing I read was there's a ERC standard that I think just came out or is being worked on about like subscription based NFTs, where like if the holder stops like sending in like their monthly subscription fee or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's the membership NFT I was talking about. It's the ability, like we're actually currently talking with a few gyms because they want to actually switch their membership to actually be an NFT, and allowing the membership payments to flow through the NFT allows it to actually make the memberships tradable, but it also really makes everything self-sovereign, so that you can guarantee that the payment flows to the right contracts or flows to the right wallets. And you can do this. Like I believe that NFT communities should actually switch to this payment right now, because one of the things that I'm going to give myself up a little bit if you don't mind. One of the things that you keep hearing about is royalties this, royalties that. Some people like to pay royalties, and some people say royalties need to exist to be able to pay the bills of the actual community. But I believe that membership NFTs are a thing that actually solves this. Because if you require an entity to have a membership fee, and the membership fee can be set by the actual community itself, and it can be adjusted or whatever, is you go in and you actually pay through the NFT, and it activates the NFT. And if the NFT is activated, you get to take advantage of all of the utility of the actual being part of that community. But if it's deactivated, you no longer do. So it's like paying membership dues to be able to take advantage of all the utility. And this allows for NFT communities to actually be like entities that can actually make money and improve, and not cross their fingers that people buy and sell the NFTs enough to make money on royalties. So this is one of the things that I'm going to be experimenting a little bit in the future. I'm going to add a little bit to it where, rather than the membership fee going directly to a wallet, it goes to an on-chain DAO treasury, which then allows for anybody with the NFT can actually make proposals and vote on how to spend that money to really prevent against rugging. But once again, this is because of Reach. We can do these things pretty easily. It sounds pretty complicated what I just said, but honestly, it's probably going to be maybe 400 lines of code.
Nice, nice, very concise and efficient. That's what I love about what Reach offers. So I guess last follow up question. I swear this is the last question before we open it up. So does Reach like follow the like how the ERC standards like develop and the new innovations that are coming out of like the ERC standards, or is Reach like connected to that, or is like Reach can create like its own, new standards and new innovations with its own language that are different and go beyond what they're doing with the ERC different standards and stuff like that?
So, I mean, yes to both. So ERC is just a standard, and they're usually just a minimum standard. What that means is that the interface to interact with these types of specs is predictable. So Reach can 100% put out ERC compliant smart contracts. We've done it before. We have many tutorials on how to do it. But I believe that the future of blockchain is beyond only fitting to actual standards. Because if you look at, I believe that the future of blockchain is going to be more like mobile development and be more like web development, where you have so many different types of applications that do so many different things. There's really no reason to actually standardize everything. It's more about standardizing the primitives that are used to connect the applications together, but it allows a open canvas to really allow for the creative thinkers out there to make the world a better place. And that is what Reach allows for. It allows for those creative thinkers to really build what they want rather than crossing their fingers that somebody built that contract on Open Zeppelin already.
Dope. Love to hear that. So with that, I guess we'll open it up to the community. If anybody has questions, please request to speak or comments. It doesn't have to be a question. It could just be a comment or an addendum to what Chris has already said. I know there's some Algo community in here. Maybe there's something y'all want to say. So anybody who wants to come up and say anything, please request. And as we wait for that, maybe if there's anything we haven't touched on that you want to speak on, Chris, about Reach or anything, open floor for you right now. And as we await anybody who wants to come up.
One of the things I always like to say when I talk to a new community is that if you're new to blockchain, if you're new to development, if you're just starting to dip your toe in, and it might feel overwhelming or that there's people that have been here forever, the truth is that the future of blockchain is going to be built by the people that are in blockchain today. Because if the people in the space today, like myself and all these other people that pretend to be, know the future, if we were as smart as what we thought we were, we would have already made blockchain mainstream. It's currently not. Blockchain is still a toy. It's still in the prototype phase. It's still trying to figure things out. We're still learning. So don't feel overwhelmed. Don't feel like you can't do it. We actually need you. We need your creative ideas. We need your thinking outside the box to be able to achieve my dreams. So this is why, you should never feel intimidated to reach out to me or ask me questions, because I am learning every single day, and I need every one of you to help me achieve my dreams.
Nice. There's nothing more that I'd want than to help you achieve your dreams. That's cool, man. And I wholeheartedly believe in what you just said. And it's not even really a belief; it's really fact what you just said. Everything's prototypical right now. Everybody's learning. Everything's so clunky. There's not a clear path forward yet, and that's why it's so fun. And that's why it's so engaging, because we're creating the path forward and we're creating the innovations. And like you said, think outside the box. Whatever you can think of can become, the next tool or the next app or the next, whatever that people are using, and really expand what society is today. Because as we know, things are pretty hectic out there these days in the world. And I think, like you said in the beginning, blockchain is a tool that offers a lot of solutions and things that we don't even know we don't know yet, to help solve some of the world's problems. So that's really cool. So I don't think anybody has the
Any of you
courage.
guys want to ask me any questions? What's going on out there? IRL, Null, Shanti? If Shanti's down in the crowd, she's the managing director of Reach, so give her a follow. She's awesome. But come up, ask me questions. Don't be scared.
You heard it. Don't be scared.
All right. Well, you can always find me. So follow me, message me, DM me. I'm here. I'm always available for you guys.
For sure. Appreciate your time. Appreciate hearing everything from you and learning about Reach and also just your broader ideas around blockchain and technology and how we're moving forward. Really engaging conversation we just had, so I really appreciate it. As you can see on this little always have a different name for it. On the top of the space, this dashboard or whatever, there's tweets that are posted. You can find Reach's proposal that they submitted to become a community verified project on the Metis network. If you're unfamiliar with Reach, please take a look at that. And then, if you're a Metis community member, you can vote. This weekend, when voting opens up, you'll see the tweet and you'll be notified on Telegram and on Twitter and in Discord and all the other socials. And so, yeah, this was our Metis governance, community governance episode with Reach. Metis community governance puts the power in your hands. And I saw you, Chris, go off mute. I don't know if you wanted to say anything.
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, cool. And Ali, I'll pass it over to you for any final words you might want to say.
Thank you, Anthony, and thank you, Chris. Was a wonderful session. Was a pleasure learning more about Reach. Basically, Reach is aiming to allow the next billion people on board by teaching to new people, to noobs like me and as well as Anthony. I'm sure it's gonna do well. And since this is the beer market and it's time to build, and I think Chris is exactly doing the same. And I'm bullish for Reach. I'm bullish for Metis, and I'm sure Reach will do great things as far as Metis ecosystem is concerned. So yeah, guys, that's it from my side. From our side, me and Anthony, we're gonna be signing off, and we would love to see you next week and have a great Christmas. Thank you.
There's one other thing that I want to say. Always remember, the future of blockchain is in reach.
Nice. That's a great slogan. And we'll end with that.
Nice.
We'll end with that. The future of blockchain is always in reach. And thank you, everybody. See you next time, and happy holidays.